All right, good day, class, and welcome to week number 9. That is right, week number 9 of your 7314 class, which is Reference, Sources, and Services. I am, as always, your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin, and I am glad to be with you for yet another week. This week, we are actually going to talk about Wikipedia, and so this week is going to be directly tied. This week is going to be directly tied into a assignment that we have for the class. However, I am going to still make this check-in video optional as opposed to mandatory, but it's highly recommended because it gives you some context as to why we do one of these assignments. Now, before we get into that, I do want to say, first of all, spring break is slated for next week. So we have coronavirus going on and we've got spring break going on, okay? Here's what I want you all to do if possible. There's not going to be any new work assigned for spring break. And so what I'm hoping that you all will be able to do is get caught up on some work and then also just kind of relax your minds. Everybody is high strung. It's very weird out there. I nearly got into 2 fights yesterday at 2 different times going out in public. People are very high strung and not acting properly. I think people are just worried and anxious, and there's a lot going on. And I need to encourage my students to be safe and to put their own health, physical and mental, first. So, with that said, yes, if you can find some time to do whatever it takes for you to be in a good mental state over these next few weeks, please do so. If you get some opportunity for some downtime and some family time during spring break, please use it. People are getting really cuckoo out here. I'm not liking it. And so I'm sure you all are not liking it either. And I don't think we've seen the worst of it, honestly. But again, I care about you all and I want you all to stay safe. And so you'll still have to do the work that the class requires you to do. However, aside from that, I want you all to just, if you can, slow things down over the next maybe week and a half. I'm recording this on Tuesday, so probably won't pop up for some of you until Wednesday. But for the next week and a half, the rest of this week, and then throughout spring break, please, if you can, just do whatever it takes to kind of decompress and, help your mind get to a healthier state. That's what it's going to take in order for us to make it through any sort of national crisis or pandemic or whatever you want to term this. So having said that, we're going to, first of all, just look at the course a little bit to do a little housekeeping. And then after that, we're going to talk about Wikipedia. And if you need me after this, then I am still monitoring emails throughout everything. austinj@missouri.edu, any place, any town, any time. All right, let's do this. First things first, we have a question coming from Georgiana that we would like to address here. So, Georgiana, and this is very good to know because it's proof that Georgiana has actually been reading the assignments, and that is something that Dr. Jace always likes to see. So the page didn't come up when Georgiana was trying to pull it up as far as the modules from Flinders University. So the actually, I think what they did was they just corrected the URL. So it should be Smart Searching Logical. And so if you click that here, it will be brought here, and this is an updated site. So you'll have that, and the modules are here. So you've got 4 modules here, and it's just an update, I believe, of the previous URL. So apologize for that inconvenience, Georgiana. But I will say that even if the modules were not still up, that it wasn't really a waste of time to read the reading because it was a scientific, I don't know if I should say a scientific study. It was an empirical study, that much is for certain. And so the results are still relevant and useful for you all to know. So yes, if you are trying to get to that URL or trying to get to those modules, this is the link that you are going to want to use. That looks like it's the only pressing concern that came up in the questions, comments, and news. Now, as far as upcoming assignments, again, you all should be working on those semester-long projects. I hope you have been the entire time. We've got the Wikipedia edit assignment due on April 5th, so that is coming up. And then not long after that, April 19th, you will have a LibGuide assignment due. So, and I'll be talking about the LibGuides. I'll make that video next week, which will be a spring break. However, if you don't see that until the following week because you decide to just space out and decompress during spring break, that is perfectly fine. So right now we're going to talk about Wikipedia a little bit, and we are going to talk about why Wikipedia, why this Wikipedia assignment even exists, because I know some of you are probably saying to yourselves, well, Wikipedia is this and that, it's not reliable, it's not this, that, and the other, and why are we using something like that, or why are we even looking at something like that in a reference class when we are supposed to be trying to acquaint our audiences or our patrons with accurate and reliable sources. So here's what I'm going to say about that. For one thing, there is a difference. I hate to say it, and I don't know that the other professors would agree with me, but the truth of the matter is when you are actually in professional practice, things kind of go a little differently from the textbook. There are people who can actually, I guess, do all of their professional practice or most of it to the textbook style, kind of like there are guys in the NFL, quarterbacks in the NFL who are textbook pocket passers. And then there are guys who are successful, but they're not the textbook quarterback or the textbook pocket passer. And that's what we're going to be looking at when it comes to successful librarianship and successful library practice. What we are going to be looking at is, we'll be looking at the textbook and what the textbook says and how to do things best or best practices. But there are also going to be times when it's just not quite as straightforward as it seems. And so one thing that you might find yourself doing is something that I find myself doing a lot on the reference desk, and I've been doing this ever since I first started reference or being a reference librarian back in 2008. So when you are actually gathering information from your patron, a lot of times what you're going to do is start out with Google, and a lot of times you're going to hit that Wikipedia to try to clarify the things that the patron is telling you. That doesn't mean that you are referring the patron to Wikipedia as a source, so let me be clear on that. But what I'm saying is when you are gathering info from the patron, as you are doing that, you're going to be on the web just typing and trying to learn a little bit more about what the patron is telling you. And Wikipedia, actually, believe it or not, can be a very useful resource for just getting that preliminary information before you hit some of the more reliable sources that you are actually going to be referring your patrons to. So I want you all to keep that in mind. Just please have that in mind. And so that's why. And then also Wikipedia, this is going to be a very controversial statement, but there is literature out there that will kind of support what I'm about to say. Wikipedia's problem is not accuracy. It's really not. Wikipedia is actually about as accurate as a lot of professional encyclopedias are. I will say about because I don't want to make that statement definitive that it is. But it's in the territory, okay? But the issue is not that Wikipedia is inaccurate. The problem is that Wikipedia is unstable. The problem is that Wikipedia can say one thing one day and say something totally different the next day, but not unless you dig. No, you can dig for this, of course, but Wikipedia is not necessarily going to make its edits obvious to the information consumer. So there could be Wikipedia edits that take place, and yet you might not know that those edits took place. So for instance, I could be doing research on something on Monday, and then on Friday I might come back and that information is either gone or it's been altered or something of that fashion. And that's what Wikipedia's problem is. It can say one thing from one day to the next, but without informing you of these updates. And so that's kind of dangerous. A newspaper, I'm a former newspaper reporter, a newspaper, for instance, should, I'm not going to say they always do, but they should be letting you know whenever they have corrections and clarifications. They should be obvious, and they should be appearing within either the next day or within the next few days, assuming that you're dealing with a daily paper. Okay, so that's what I want to just kind of drive home as far as why Wikipedia is even being brought up in this course. Believe it or not, yes, there are going to be uses for it when you are actually in professional practice. But the reason why I like the Wikipedia edit assignment is because this is the assignment that allows for my students to actually contribute to some sort of external societal greater good. So what I mean by that is, because with the Wikipedia assignment, what you are going to have to do is you are going to have to actually enhance or improve a Wikipedia article that exists. And so once you do that, there's no telling who in the future will stumble upon your Wikipedia article or the Wikipedia article that you edited. Somebody might come across it, and then that person gets more accurate or better information when they search that Wikipedia, or more thorough or more in-depth, whatever, but better. I will just use that to simplify. Better information for whomever may come across that Wikipedia page in the future. That person might get better information because of the work that you did. And that is not something to be underestimated. So this is our chance to kind of contribute to the greater good of information knowledge, and it's something that librarians actually do quite a bit. And when I say that, what I mean is, hold on. So take this for example. So you'll see this is not rare, folks. I just pulled up something. I apologize that what I pulled up is 4 years old, but these go on all the time. And if you get on professional listservs, you're going to see this. There are Wikipedia edit-a-thons that mostly, maybe I shouldn't say mostly, but a large number of the people who participate in these Wikipedia edit-a-thons actually are librarians. And you will see calls for librarians to participate in edit-a-thons for Wikipedia periodically. I don't know with what actual frequency, but you're going to see those. You're going to see those calls for editors or calls for participation to take place. And the reason for that is because librarians believe in what they do and they're passionate about what they do. So yes, there is a passion and an interest with people in our field to go ahead and whenever these edit-a-thons occur, to go ahead and contribute, to devote some of their work time or even some of their free time sometimes to making sure that Wikipedia pages are, the main thing is more accurate and more up to date, but there's some other things that get checked too. So as you see here, this is speaking of a feminist edit-a-thon. And so with some of these edit-a-thons, it's not only a matter of accuracy and updating information and things of that nature, but they can also be looking to remove bias from some of these Wikipedia articles. So for instance, and I will say this as a cis male, as a man, yes, there are going to be, I don't have any specific examples off the top of my head, but this is also something you can Google. If you're a librarian, look it up. there are instances where there is, some sexism that's just kind of encoded into how Wikipedia articles might be presented. And so if you've got something, and it's not always deliberate, probably more often than not, it's not deliberate, but it's something that people are not very conscious of. But if you see, for instance, Wikipedia articles that might use sexist language, and some of those things can be very minor. For instance, if you see one thing that one of my professors, when I was getting my PhD, used to really rail on me on was I would always say, such and such manned the reference desk, or such and such manned the circulation desk. And yeah, one of my dissertation committee members, rightfully so, corrected me there and said that the word that you use there is staffed, not manned, and that saying manned is a form of just gender bias that you're kind of injecting into that narrative, or into the Wikipedia article or report. So there are things like that even that we try to look for and remove in order to present information that does not alienate people. So editathons are something that happens, and I hope that after this class you'll be interested in participating in editathons and that sort of thing. So you have that, and then also one thing that I also wanted to share with you as a reason why I think this assignment is so important is because of this. And this is something that very much worries me. I'm a person who thinks about information dissemination and information consumption a lot. I think all librarians do, really, but it's just something that I'm really someone who watches that and watches how society is interacting with information. And so look at this. Meet the man behind a third of what's on Wikipedia. And this is not an old article. This is just from last year, January 2019. And I believe this guy is still going. So Stephen Pruitt. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know what his credentials are. I don't know anything about Stephen Pruitt. I don't know what his objectives are, what his biases are, what his end goal is. And I don't know exactly. Now, of course, this can be traced if you do the due diligence and look through those edit pages and things like that. But the average person isn't going to do that and does not have the time to do that. And so this is basically some person that we don't know much about, and yet he has made nearly and this is as of January 2019, so this number could be higher now, but he has made nearly 3 million edits to Wikipedia, has written 35,000 original articles, and yet we don't know who he is, or what his agenda is, or why he's doing it. And this is something that I just really, really worry about as somebody who thinks about information dissemination. What if a bad player or a bad governmental entity or anything of that nature was just kind of covertly controlling a third of the information on a major information source? It's very unnerving. Now, I don't want to link that to any current modern day political happenings or anyone who is operating currently in politics. I'm going to leave that alone. We have people of all sort of political persuasions here in this class, so there's no need to get anything started there. But let's look at the past, and I'll go with the obvious example. What if Goebbels were able to just have a team of people who covertly edited a major information source? Wouldn't that be so terrifying, right? And so these are the things that we have to keep in mind. Authority is a big part of information evaluation, and it's something that I don't want you all to lose sight of. And we have to be careful we have to have a critical eye of the information that we consume, but it's also best when we know who's putting out that information and why. Authority is a big, big, big issue. So, and if you want to read about this guy, it's actually a pretty fascinating story, at least if you're interested in information. So if you just Google CBS News, meet the man behind a third of what's on Wikipedia, if you just Google that, you'll find this article, and then you can read it. And yeah, you can just kind of just familiarize yourself with this man and what he's doing. But you know, this is something that, again, you know, what are his credentials? What has he and what has he not edited? So forth and so on. As a former newspaper reporter, I had a byline on my stories. You knew who I was, you knew how to reach me as well, and you could examine my biases and things of that nature, or try to see if I had biases and things. So this is something that I want you all to really be cognizant of. And again, this is why I have so much passion for this assignment in particular, because I believe that what you all do is going to help information consumers in general for a long time to come, assuming that your edits stick. There could be somebody who comes across your edits 10 years from now, and that person will be better served by the improvements you made to the page that you worked on. Now, if you want to create your own original Wikipedia article, that is fine, but it's easier to just improve something that already exists per the prompt. So I'm going to leave it there. Again, please keep it together, folks. These are very stressful and trying times. Please stay safe, please stay healthy, and please stay in a good state of mind. This is it. I'm Dr. Chase. Peace and grace.